Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, as well as guided meditation programs. Between a full-time job in IT and a full-time job in podcasting, it gets harder and harder to sit down and read the books I'm interested in. This is where Audible comes in. I can listen on my daily commute, relaxing, or while out running errands and still get in the books I've been wanting to get into. You can download titles and listen offline anytime, anywhere. The app is free and can be installed on all smartphones and tablets. Now you can try Audible risk-free with a special 30-day free trial by visiting audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. That's audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. Don't let your busy life get in the way of that great book you've been wanting to read. Go get your free trial of Audible today. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. This is Geoffrey, and we've talked about many times before that I experience problems and struggles with my mental health. And really, without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy does work. It's helped for me, but what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, or you're not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's really time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles, and it's time to start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And there's a special offer to Nerdery and Murdery listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. That's betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of Nerdery and Murdery.
You're an idiot. Welcome to episode 20 of Nerdery and Murdery.
Ep 20, peoples.
This episode comes out October 17th, so I'm still doing that. Just 'cause, I don't know, it makes me feel better.
Yeah, keep doing it.
I just think it's wild. We're all the way into October. Episode 20.
We have recorded 19 episodes up till here.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad we're still going strong on this. I'm glad that we're still very into doing this. Mm-hmm. It hasn't waned off. It's been fun every single time. Yeah. I look forward to recording day for 2 weeks because we for those of you who aren't aware out there, every 2 weeks we try to record 3 episodes.
I think we skipped 1 week one time, so we went, instead of going 2 weeks, it was like 3 weeks. But we got right back into the rhythm. Right.
We there was something I don't remember, but there was something going on. But yeah, here at episode 20, it's just I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. And this morning as we recorded, episode 6 dropped. And, my typical Sunday morning is I get to be a listener and I go back and I listen, even though I've listened to the raw recordings and I've listened to edited recordings and gone through final drafts. I mean, before we go live, I will have listened to a single episode probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, me too.
And then on Sunday morning, as soon as I get up, I get my coffee and I sit at my computer and I listen to the episode that dropped.
Right on.
And it's just, it's funny as we go through it, just hearing some of the idiotic stuff that we say.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I like to listen to that just because I think it's funny. It's like, man, this is really funny. I hope other people like it as much as
I do too. And I mean, theoretically, if somebody's at episode 20, they enjoyed to stay with us, unless it's somebody who's just randomly picked an episode, which will happen.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what is this one about?
But yeah, when I woke up this morning, I got up this morning about 6:00, and there were already 7 people who had downloaded the episode. I was like, wow. We obviously have some fans that are camping out for Sunday morning, ready to go.
Just click. I got it. I'm gonna listen to it now. Or they're staying up late Saturday night. It's like, well, it's time for a new episode.
Yeah. There were 2 things that I kind of wanted to open with. Number one, I think we ought to come up with a theme for this or whatnot, because I want to call this the "Get Off My Lawn" segment.
Get off my lawn.
Because that's just kind of when things go through my head, that I realize I'm just this crotchety old man, and the things that just drive me crazy. It reminds me when I first thought of myself as that crotchety old man, and literally the Clint Eastwood "Get off my lawn" was when I stayed at the Link in Vegas. I went out there for a conference, and the Link is a party hotel. It is a hotel for young people. And my old crotchety self, as I would sit there in the mornings trying to drink my coffee and seeing these people come in still drunk from the night before, the thought that was going through my head was, damn it, children, put on some damn clothes.
Oh my God. What you guys don't know is he used to be that guy.
So
where are your pants? I don't know.
That was kind of the origin of this with me. But for this week, just one of the things that was going through my head that drives me crazy is abbreviation culture. It's so, oh my God, it's so spread out. And I mean, I've heard several things that I've heard just this week that are abbreviations that I just don't know why. Starbucks. Adorbs.
I use adorbs.
Whatevs.
I like adorbs. Whatevs.
Sus for suspect.
Oh yeah, that's from Imposter. Is that the name of the game?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Simp.
Yeah.
Somebody's being simp.
Yeah.
Lit, etc. I just, why are we so lazy? Why are we so lazy now? That's just what I'm thinking here.
I think it's the natural progression of language.
I guess.
Well, I mean, okay, so you got Italian right now, right? Right, Italian. Italian is way less formal than vulgar Latin, and especially proper Latin. And it's basically, it is the same language, just 1,500 years later.
Yeah. I guess. I just, as I heard various people use these abbreviations this week, this was literally just...
I heard one the other day you might like. A himbo. You know what a himbo is?
No.
That's a dude who's not very smart but is handsome.
God.
I was cracking up on that one. I was like, oh, he's a himbo.
Well, it's just every now and it's just me getting old, and as especially as I'm listening to podcasts of younger people and they're using these abbreviations, as they say it, the thought goes through my head. Why can't
you just say suspect?
Just say the whole thing. So
suspicious.
So yeah. So that's this week's Get Off My Lawn.
Get off
segment.
my lawn.
The other thing I wanted to cover. So I saw Black Widow yesterday.
And what did you think?
The movie is not good
at all.
It just isn't.
But it's the story of Romanov, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted it to be good. Yeah. I really did, but it just wasn't.
But that's an interesting story. How did they screw that up?
It wasn't good.
Okay.
It was fucking badass. Oh my God. I can't.
You really had me there for a second.
I figured I would. I mean, that movie is intense from start to finish.
It should be.
It doesn't let up. It's like Die Hard. it doesn't let up from the get-go.
I'm so glad you're talking about this.
Oh, gosh. Black Widow is incredible. Black Widow is one of the best Marvel movies.
Wow.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a watch here pretty
I can't
soon.
say enough about how good Black Widow was. For those of you out there that have not seen it yet, matter of fact, let's see, this comes out October 17th. It's now free on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Because I believe it's free on Disney Plus as of October 6th. You can get it today. You can get it on Disney Plus for $30.
Yeah.
We went and saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
First movie I've seen since COVID.
Really?
In the theaters at any rate.
Oh, yeah. I took the kids to go see Goonies at our little local. Oh, my God. That was so great. And we were the only people in the theater.
This was packed. This was
nice.
a packed theater. It was, and oh my God. So a couple of things. Of course, stay to the end. There's an end credit scene.
Well, of course there is. It's a Marvel movie.
If you have not seen it yet, watch Falcon and Winter Soldier before this movie.
Okay.
Okay. Or else the end scene is not going to make a whole lot of sense.
I love
You
Falcon
better
and
have
Winter
watched Endgame before this movie, or the end sequence is not going to make a lot of sense.
Soldier. Okay.
But I did want to say that I truly believe the main bad guy, he's this Russian general, and I can't remember his name right now. It's my suspicion that they made this character Harvey Weinstein. You'll have to see it. I think, and knowing that, when you see the movie, I think you'll understand what I mean.
Okay.
I think they were trying to make a Harvey Weinstein character.
Right on.
Because he is that deplorable and evil of a person.
Yeah.
But there was not anything about that movie that was just not good.
Okay.
I cannot say enough of how bad ass of a movie that was.
You really had me going there for a second.
I figured I would, but yeah. So I wanted to tell you about that
Right on.
before we got into it.
Right
so,
on.
anyway.
Oh, well, there is one thing I want to say. I'm Zig with your nerdery. I don't think we covered that part.
I'm Geoffrey with your murdery. I think we did, maybe.
Okay, we did it twice.
We're idiots.
Oh yeah, one more thing. Keith. There you go. Okay.
Go ahead and get that out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, this is not
I think we've had episodes where he's been forgotten.
Yeah, no, usually I try to mention him multiple times in the next episode, so I catch him for each one.
Yeah, when it comes to gaming is typically when it comes in. So, but yeah, that's all I had kind of to cover this week. Do you have anything?
Nothing towards going on right now. I think in the last episode I talked about Leverage. The new Leverage series was really good. No, just kind of the same old.
Cool. Then I guess with that, we can kick off into the nerdery.
Well, okay then. I am happy to do this nerdery subject. So I was kind of thinking about this and I was like, you know what? I'd like to cover a couple of action movies, the things that I think are most actiony. So this movie, this episode is for 3 hard action flicks.
Yeah, but I already covered it. Black Widow, done. We're done. Episode is done. Cue the music.
But there's no murdery yet. Okay.
Oh, okay. Someone died. Cue the music.
Cue the music.
Shortest episode ever.
Wow. I didn't think this was going to be a long one, but I didn't realize it was going to be that short. So yeah, this one is 3 hardcore action flicks. The 3 movies I want to cover are The Killer by John Woo, 4 Brothers by John Singleton, and Total Recall by Paul Verhoeven.
Okay, I now know one of these.
Oh, I bet you know 4 Brothers. You may not know The Killers, but I guarantee you they kind of he did a remake of it called The Replacement Killers in America.
Nah, haven't seen it.
Oh.
You know, and it's really starting to just get on my nerves. I have 2 dogs that are doing nothing but continually circling this table. Bella keeps circling. Loki keeps circling. Bella just climbed over my feet. Loki's banged into me. It is just...
You're just circling. It's like they're on a road to nowhere.
I know. And Loki is just staring at me from your elbow.
How you doing, buddy? We're on a road to nowhere.
I don't know what's going on here today. All right. No, I don't. I don't know the first two. Total Recall, I'm of course familiar with. Now, I have not seen the re-release.
Oh, the remake of Total Recall?
I've only seen the original.
It is okay, but the thing about Total Recall originally was when it was made the goriest movie ever made.
It was. Yeah, that was pretty.
They had to wear rain slickers when they were using a lot of the blood effects.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. I read the book too. The book is outstanding.
Yes, Philip K. Dick again.
Yes,
he does this sort of thing well.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of the Schwarzenegger one. I really was. I thought it was. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. I'm not crazy about Schwarzenegger just because his voice throws me off. But I
like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, Terminator, great.
Well, but he was playing a robot.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I don't have a problem with Schwarzenegger. I like him. I like him in comedies too. I think he's done very good in.
He's funny. The Killer is a 1989 Hong Kong action thriller film written and directed by John Woo. This is one of the first ones that they referred to as gun fu.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of gunplay and a lot of kung fu.
Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Kill Bill
is gun fu.
Yeah, because Kill Bill has comical amounts of blood. Just unbelievably unrealistic amounts of blood.
There are a couple of scenes from The Killers that probably ended up making it into Kill Bill. I know there's a specific scene in The Killers that has made it into a lot of things, including an episode of Community where Chow Yun-fat walks in with a pair of sunglasses in a nice suit, chewing on a matchstick, and he pulls out two guns and just starts firing in slow motion. And there's this Chinese music in the background. It's just
how funny.
Yeah, and you see it a lot. It's like, oh, hey, that's from The Killer. So it stars Chow Yun-fat, Danny Lee, and Sally Yu. Chow plays the assassin Ah Zhang, who accidentally damages the eyes of a singer, Jenny, played by Sally Yi. During a shootout, he later discovers that Jenny does not undergo an expensive operation. She will go blind to get the money. To get the money for Jenny, Ah Zhang decides to perform one last hit. Now, that last hit that he performs goes awry, and they send out a bunch of other killers to try and kill him. He befriends a policeman who also knows Jenny, and they basically end up working together. It was released in 1989. I'm not worried about spoilers. Chow Yun-fat eventually dies, and his corneas go to her.
I think you're well aware, well beyond spoilers on this one.
Yeah, and his corneas ended up going to her. But yeah, it's a movie about redemption, but mostly it's an excuse for these two actors to use kung fu and guns in the most beautiful way. It's almost like it's choreography. And I know there's been a lot others since, a lot of those that John Woo himself have done, but I don't think anything is as good as The Killers.
Well, and that's where I say I think Kill Bill probably took a lot of influence from because the fights in there are just beautifully choreographed.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Tarantino fan, and I know there's a lot of people that aren't, and there's a lot of people that are. Very few people are in the middle with Tarantino.
You're either one way or you're the other.
Right. And Kill Bill, both 1 and 2, is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love the storyline. I love the choreography of the fighting.
Yes.
I think it's just beautiful. It's beautifully done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is an art in itself.
Right.
Violence as dance is, and granted, I understand that it basically started out in Hong Kong, but it's beautiful. It's interesting to watch. It's fascinating. And sometimes it is so fast, you have to slow it down to watch it just to see what's going on. I think critically, it should probably get a lot more praise than it does. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's just an action movie. No, it's really not. It's more than that. It's more visceral.
Sure.
I guess that's a good word for it.
Sure.
Visceral.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you because, like I said, I'm going to keep going back to Kill Bill when we talk about this because that's the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
exactly how I feel about that. It's very visceral. Am I pronouncing that right? Visceral.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I don't know half the time.
We're not Grammartists.
No. It's just it's less about being just action as it is just it's a dance.
It's like ballet.
Yes.
It's
and
violence ballet.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay.
Well, and a lot of this stuff harkens back to basically the martial ballet of ancient China, which they've been doing for a long time. It's it's basically kung fu and dance.
Right.
Wushu, I think is the word they use for it. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But yeah, and so in this movie, so this movie is not in English. You can get it dubbed. Most people do. It is in it's in Cantonese, which is a lot of the Hong Kong movies are not actually in Mandarin. So yeah, that one is really an interesting one. You get to see. If you haven't seen it, go out and check it out. If you like a kung fu movie and a good gun movie, it is John Woo at the height of what he can do. I mean, yes, he did some stuff over here afterwards that were pretty good and fairly commendable, but ain't nothing like The Killer.
Well, that's what I got to ask. Does it have the John Woo coming through doors and doves fly out from behind him?
Yeah, that's that with him walking through the door with the sunglasses on. That's the first time he did that.
Oh, okay. In that movie, okay.
Yeah. With the,
which was completely stolen in Face Off.
Oh yeah. Well, that was John Woo though.
Was it?
Face Off John Woo.
I did not know that. Well, there you go. That scene
he
is
stole from himself.
Okay, so he didn't steal it. I don't know why I didn't know that was John Woo because I love Face Off.
Yeah.
I think Face Off is a great movie. Okay, not great, but it's
got
very
Nick Cage in it. It can't be great. Nothing with Nick Cage in it is great after 1994, I would say.
I don't know. I think that one's really good. I mean, because you see Nick Cage not being Nick Cage.
No, being John Travolta.
John Travolta.
That was
John
he was pretty
Travolta
good.
being Nick Cage. That's what I thought was.
Who do you think was
great.
better? Because I thought Nick Cage did a very, very good impersonation of John Travolta. I did not think John Travolta's impersonation of Nick Cage was as good.
And we disagree there because I thought
it was the reverse.
Yeah, I thought Travolta did very, very well as a psychopathic Nick Cage. I thought he did. I thought he did outstanding.
Or just the Nick Cage.
Just the Nick Cage. Yeah, exactly. No, I can't believe I didn't know that was John Woo. That's funny. Okay.
Yes, the John Woo. All right. Well, okay. Yeah. John Woo's great. I love that. But again, if you haven't seen The Killer, you can pick it up. I want to say you can get it through IMDb. He did a remake called The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat and oh my God, I want to say Mina Sawari. That's not right. Oh my God, Paul Sorvino's daughter. Mia Sorvino.
Maybe.
I cannot believe I can't remember her name. And I didn't put it down here.
No, I don't know.
Okay, Paul Sorvino's daughter and Chow Yun-fat, The Replacement Killers. And it is not a shot-for-shot remake, but basically he updated it for an American audience.
Okay.
The next film is Four Brothers. Four Brothers is a 2005 American action film directed by John Singleton. The movie stars Mark Wahlberg, Tyrese Gibson, Andre Benjamin, Andre 3000, and Garrett Hedlund as adopted siblings who avenge the death of their mother. The film was shot in and around Detroit and takes place in Detroit. Now, what is interesting about this movie, it is a remake of The Sons of Katie Elder. Not many people know that. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
So these four brothers go back home because their mother has died. And there's someone who's trying to move in on the mother and they basically avenge her. Although in Sons of Katie Elder, she died of natural causes. In this movie, she was murdered. But yes, it is basically a remake of The Sons of Katie Elder, which is a John Wayne Western. And it has a Western feel. There are a few scenes out on Lake Michigan, out on the ice. Lake Michigan? Detroit is on Lake Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, the geography guy doesn't know that off the top of his head.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of spooky, yeah.
Well, and I'm saying, I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, that's big.
As far as I know, it's on Lake Worth.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, there are a few scenes out on a frozen lake where they're basically doing some gangstery stuff. I'll say that. I don't want to give too much away.
When did this movie come out?
2005.
16 years ago, man.
Yeah, so they're going out there. They dig holes in the ice, and that's where they hide bodies in the wintertime. And it is so good.
Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen this movie in the last 16 years, like me. So great. I now know. So we're good.
I can't believe you haven't seen Four Brothers. This is great.
By the way, Paul Sorvino's daughter is Mira
Sorvino.
Yep.
I was close. I said Mila. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So the film was shot in and around Detroit, Michigan, and the greater Toronto area. It has been described as blaxploitation influenced. There is definitely a blaxploitation influence on it, especially being John Singleton. I kind of wish he would do more stuff like this because I think he's got a particularly good eye for this sort of thing.
Who's dead? John Singleton?
John Singleton is not dead. Is John Singleton dead?
Which John?
The director? John Singleton died? No! How did I not know that?
April 28th, 2019. Yep. Well, there you go.
Well, great. Yeah, it's 2 years too late, and now I'm very sad. I love John Singleton.
Sorry.
Well, okay. So,
thanks, William.
As a testament in his memory...
Way to screw up our shit. Thanks, William. Wow.
Well, it was about the movie, not about the director, so...
Oh, way to fuck up our shit. Jesus.
He can't make any more movies. Yeah, yeah. And I figured that Ron Glass also passed away. That's why he's not going to be in there. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Okay.
This was a couple of years ago, too.
Did I know that Ron Glass? Oh my God.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the in an episode where we were talking about...
Yeah, but I black out during these episodes. I told you this already.
Yes, Ron Glass passed away. That's why he can't do...
Firefly.
Yes, Firefly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't remember.
Yes, Ron Glass passed away on November 25th, 2016.
Huh. Okay. And if we talked about it in an episode... Huh. Okay.
Okay. I know.
I black out.
Yeah. I think this one's kind of falling apart.
I don't know what to tell you other than that.
This one's kind of falling apart. Sorry.
Well,
so yeah. Four Brothers. So there are a couple of scenes where they're having a gun battle and a car chase down frozen streets in this back area of Detroit where nobody is, and it's foggy. And all you really get, the only lighting is the lights off of the headlights of the cars that are involved. And I would say also like The Killer, it's almost ballet with cars.
Okay.
And these guys had all worked for the GM plants, so they're all old GM cars. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a Cutlass get totaled as badly as this one does in this movie.
More so than Blues Brothers, the amount of cars they destroyed in the Blues Brothers?
Yeah, it's about like that, only it's just two cars on the ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Having gunfights.
Yeah, because Blues Brothers destroyed a shit ton of cars.
Yes.
For that
this
movie.
is just between two cars, just intentionally trying to mess each other. It was almost like a crash-up derby on the ice.
Okay.
And it's awesome. So yeah, the scene and some of the gun battle scenes, when some of the bad guys come to the house, and there's a shootout in their mom's old house, is pretty. It's pretty outstanding as well. Mm-hmm. The bad guy, Chitwell Ejiofor, and I know I'm not pronouncing that way. Chitwell Ejiofor. Yeah, he was in Serenity.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I love that actor too.
Yeah, and he plays the bad guy so well because he's such a mean bad guy. Like he makes his guys eat off the floor when they make a mistake.
Yeah. Churwell. No, shoot.
Chitwell, Ejiofor.
I had it for a second there.
Anyway, he's really, really phenomenal in this. And again, the scene on the ice, the final culmination between the brothers and him. And just like in Sons of Katie Elder, one of the brothers gets killed in this process, and it's kind of heartbreaking. And although it was a different brother, Andre Benjamin is really, really good in this. And I've seen some other stuff that he's in that I didn't think he was great. He was okay, but he was really, really good in this. Mark Wahlberg was pretty good in this too. I've seen him in a few things that I really like. Tyrese Gibson was really good in the kid that played the younger brother. Mm-hmm. Garrett Hedlund was phenomenal. This is definitely one you want to take a look at. I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes. But yeah, if you've never seen Four Brothers, you should give it. You should give it. It's a hardcore action flick. I mean, it starts out pretty hardcore and keeps going. They drop this one guy out a window.
Well, and you've just hit a couple that I haven't seen. I love a good action flick.
Well, I mean, this one
Die
is.
Hard. Love Die Hard. The Kill Bill, which is a hardcore action flick.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction is a hardcore action flick. Yes. I love a good action flick. You've just happened to hit two that I have not seen.
Yeah, I have not seen. Well, yeah, you definitely. Okay, so the Killers again, or the Killer is it's going to be either subtitled or dubbed.
Right.
I don't know, it bothers some people, but you should check that out. Four Brothers, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch this because I think you will love it.
Okay.
Especially the car chase gunfight on the ice scenes are. Sweet.
Which is one of the things that probably maybe you'll surprise somebody, maybe it doesn't. I am not a fan of the Fast and the Furious movies.
I don't like them either.
I'm just not. The concept of it just seems dumb to me. I hate to say that because I know there's people listening right now that are like, oh God, I love the Fast and the Furious movies. I just don't.
No, I saw one of them.
I didn't see any of them. The whole concept looked dumb to me.
Yeah, I saw one of them and instantly regretted it.
And I think we're up to like 9 now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely a market for them. A lot of people do like them.
Of course there is. Yeah. It's made a ton of money.
Yeah, but I'm not. Meh. I don't think it's as good as Steve McQueen's Bullet, which is what I think was the inspiration for those.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I could
Steve
see
McQueen's
that.
Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, they're okay. I mean, yeah, some of the car choreography is amazing. I have probably seen more clips of those movies, than I have the actual movies themselves, just for some of the car choreography.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to call it, and it's more than a stunt because it was dancing with cars.
Sure,
and that's amazing.
Sure.
But I don't think it's as good as.
What'd you call it? Violence Ballet?
Yeah, Violence Ballet.
Yeah,
or the Ballet of Violence.
Sure, something like that.
Yeah.
I like the term. So okay.
So yeah, Four Brothers is the same sort of way. I just watched Four Brothers again, and I forgot how good it was when I was like, I want to do like 3 really good action movies. And I was like, the first one I knew I was going to do The Killer. The third one I knew I was going to do Total Recall. I'm like, what do I put in the middle? And it was like, I could put in Four Brothers because I know the scene on the ice, the scene with the cars, and the scene where they drop the guy out the window. Man, just mwah! And it's just Violence Ballet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you haven't seen it, you definitely want to go out and check Four Brothers out. Now, the third film was the original Schwarzenegger's Total Recall. I have seen the new one. Mm-hmm. It is not as gloriously violent as the original.
The new one just didn't look that good to me. Really I saw the trailer and I'm like, no.
My first thought was it was going to be more like the book. It's not.
Right, because I do know that the original movie does stray off the book.
Oh,
quite a bit.
Yeah, miles.
Because the book Total Recall is a great book.
Yeah, and it leaves it ambiguous as to whether or not the dude it actually happened to him, or if
So
it
does
was
the
the
movie?
dream.
So does the movie.
Or it was in the dream in the...
Yeah. No, the movie's the same way. I mean, the way it ends, you really still don't know.
That's true. That's true.
So,
You really don't.
yeah, it doesn't change. I highly recommend anybody that wants a book to read. Read Philip K. Dick and read Total Recall, because it is just...
You can have it all at Recall. I can't remember.
You can have it all at Recall.
Yeah.
You can have it all at Total Recall.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely a good... And it's like a novella. It's not even a full book.
Yeah, no, it's not long at all. It's a good short one.
I don't think you can even buy it. I think you have to buy it in a collection because it's that short.
No,
you can buy it.
I used to have it all by itself. Now, I think they did that after the movie came out, because the copy I had Schwarzenegger's face on the front of it.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So, it came out after that. But
it's maybe 100 pages.
I think it's more than that. It's oh God, I'd have to look it up for sure, but
I don't think it's as long as Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
I'll look it up. Continue.
Yeah, all right, look that up. Thanks, sir. So yeah, this film tells the story of a construction worker who suddenly finds himself embroiled in espionage on Mars, unable to determine if the experiences are real or the result of memory implants. It was written by Ronald Shusett, Dan O'Banion, John Pavel, and Gary Goldman. Man, when you get 5 people rewriting a novel, I could see how you would stray off the original storyline a bit.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is 240 pages.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Total Recall 656.
Wow.
So considerably longer.
Wow.
For Total Recall.
Huh.
Still, it's still relatively short.
Yeah.
656 pages is not that long for a book.
656 pages?
Mm-hmm. That's what it said. That's what the net said.
Okay.
And everything on the internet's true. So
yes.
I don't know. It had the ISDN number and all that, so I assume it's probably fairly accurate. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you. So this movie actually won a Special Achievement Academy Award for its visual effects, mostly for a lot of the blood and gore and some of this. Because if you think about it, this was made in 1987, 88. Mm-hmm. Some of the makeup and special effects in there were light years ahead of their time.
Sure.
I'm thinking of, the people in Venusville and Mars.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell, the
fake head that he takes off.
The fake head was cool. The scene where he pulls that tracker out of his nose is pretty wild in itself. The scene where he is out on the Mars landscape and can't breathe. Yeah. That's horrifyingly graphic.
It's hard to breathe while you're watching it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The original score, composed by Jerry Goldsmith, also won a BMI Film Music Award. I did not know that either. And off the top of my head, I can't even remember the score, so maybe I should go back and sit down and listen to this one.
And it has Michael Ironside in it, who I always love him as a villain or a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of my favorite characters from V.
Yeah.
Playing Ironside. The Merc.
Yeah. Michael Ironside. And he has that voice.
Yeah. I love Michael Ironside.
And he's got the name, too.
He's played in a lot of movies that I've just loved him in.
Yeah. Yeah. Scanners.
Scanners is I have vivid. So back when Scanners came out, God, I'm completely going away from this subject.
That's okay. It's an action film.
Trailers for movies, there was a lot less regulations around it, let's say.
It scared a bunch of kids.
Yeah, because that was in that trailer is where they showed the guy's head exploding.
Yeah, the guy's head explodes in the trailer.
Grossed me. I was violently nauseous when I first saw that in the movie theaters as a trailer, and I was terrified. I didn't watch Scanners till probably 20 years later.
Have you seen that movie lately?
The original?
Yeah, Scanners.
No, I own it on DVD. That thing that we talk about, the little round disc spins.
Goes around circles. Yeah.
I have it on DVD.
Yeah, that head exploding scene is not nearly as graphic as we thought it was.
No. I've gone back and watched since.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near as graphic. Yeah. But back then, that was pretty horrifyingly gory.
Yeah. Nobody had ever done anything like that before.
No, and they showed it in the trailer. That's the thing that boggles my mind to this day. Is it was in the trailer. But yeah, so Michael Ironside was in that. He plays he plays a good bad guy or just a good asshole. His character.
He's a good guy, but meh.
His character, Viper in Top Gun. I loved his character in that. Michael Ironside is just a really good actor. I like him a lot.
Love him. Him and love his voice. It's very gruff.
You know who currently reminds me a lot of him and the characters he plays is oh God, I can't get his name out, but he plays Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks.
I love Jonathan Banks.
I absolutely, and I see him very much like Michael Ironside.
He's the first cop that gets killed by Gans in 48 hours, right?
Yes.
How's the wife? Mean as a snake.
He's also the henchman in Beverly Hills Cop.
That's true. He is. I always forget about that.
Okay. So the other day I'm at work and I happen to make a little, so there's a Foley that is coming to work, for us. And I made a joke to my team. I said, yeah, and he's got a brother in Detroit who's a detective.
Yeah.
And it fell flat. Nobody got that.
What?
For about 5 minutes, and then suddenly somebody goes, oh, I get it now. And then people started posting pictures from Beverly Hills Cop in the chat. And me not thinking, I go, yeah, I'm going to put something. And I opened up Google and I typed banana in the tailpipe, and I just hit the mic because I had to lift my fingers as I was about to hit enter when I went, oh God, no. No. I do not need to hit enter on that.
Especially at work. We're not falling for the banana tailpipe.
So sorry I banged the mic like
That's
that.
Okay.
But
yes. Don't search for banana in the tailpipe at work.
No. I
Make sure you preface it with Beverly Hills Cop.
Right. Before I hit enter, I realized, oh my God, what could possibly show up if you did that? And I think William is actually about to type that into his phone to see what pops up.
Oh my God, look at his face. Look at his face.
Go ahead, continue. We'll see what comes up.
Okay. Total Recall.
Oh, so
it actually works.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop came up first. Okay.
Yay!
Well, so I was.
Yeah. Okay.
I was scared for nothing then.
Yeah, I'm err on the side of caution. I'm with you. Yeah. So So Total Recall had a budget of $50 to $60 million, which blows me away as much money as that.
Do you know what it grossed?
261 million worldwide. That is not video. That is butts in seats.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it was a Schwarzenegger flick. Of course it did.
But it was the most expensive film made at the time.
Sure.
50 or 60 million, which is nothing now.
No, not. I mean, you get a Marvel movie that's going to spend 100 to 200 million easy.
Yeah.
But they're also going to go out there and gross $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where movies are now is we're looking at, it's got to gross $1 billion for Marvel or Disney to consider a Star Wars or a Marvel movie successful now.
Wow. Yeah. You're going to have to make $1 billion. And again, that's not, well, no, I guess now they count streaming as well, but
I don't know that they have factored that in yet because you got to remember that's new.
Yeah,
that only started last year.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what was the first one. Was it Mulan? Was the first one that did streaming as well as in the movies at the same time, and it caused such a huge backlash?
Was it Mulan? I can't remember if it was Mulan or not, Wonder Woman 1984.
It was not Wonder Woman 1984. It was definitely something before. And I think it was Mulan.
Okay.
Because that caused a big controversy. I don't remember what movie chain it was that said that they wouldn't have any. Maybe it wasn't Mulan for Disney because I think it was a Universal movie. Mm-hmm. And that movie chain said, yeah, we won't show any Universal movies. Oh, it was Trolls.
Oh, yeah. The second Trolls movie.
Which wasn't that Was that Pixar or was that Universal? That must have been Universal, I guess.
Yeah.
Hell, what do I know? I'm sitting over here like I know anything.
Yeah, well, you do have a magical box in front
I
of you.
know, and I could look it up, but I know now that I think about it, it was Trolls.
Yeah.
That's the one that came out, and that's the one that caused such a controversy.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have started counting streaming yet.
Yes.
And it may not be for a while because that's a little hard to count because I could pay $30 for Black Widow and bring over 30 of my friends.
Yes.
That's still only counting as one view.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one butt in one seat.
Yeah, so I think you may end up starting to see a split with tickets sold and then actual money gross. So
Yeah.
I think they may actually end up splitting that up a bit. So.
Well, we had that same problem with home video too. If you'll remember, to calculate that stuff for a long time, they couldn't figure it out.
Well,
In the
and
late 70s, early 80s.
right, and they didn't count for inflation either because for the longest time, Gone with the Wind was the best-selling movie ever as far as butts and seats.
Yeah.
With ticket sales, and I think that's probably been surpassed now with the cash cow that Disney, Marvel, Star Wars is now. I mean, they just literally print money. So
Yeah, they print their own. They just got presses.
so Total Recall. Sorry.
Total Recall. Okay, so and so the new one, I did see it. I saw it. When it was on video or cable or something like that. It is not great. I'm going to be honest. It is not. And again, I am not a huge fan of Schwarzenegger. I think he's kind of funny, but anything I've ever seen Schwarzenegger in, with the exception of the Terminator, because I think he's fine in the Terminator. Anything I've ever seen Schwarzenegger in, I've always thought they could have cast someone better.
Really?
Yeah.
Twins?
Yeah. Yeah. I would have kept Danny DeVito, and I would have got somebody else.
I thought it was perfect with them too. I also I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but the Christmas movie he was in, that it was him and Phil Hartman about
Jingle All the Way.
And
Sinbad.
And Sinbad. I thought he was perfect in that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that. Jingle All the Way, he was pretty good in. Yeah. I liked him in that.
Okay.
But yeah, anything else I've ever seen him in, I always thought, again, with the exception of Terminator, because he's perfect as a robot.
Commando.
No. I can think of 5 guys that would have been better in Commando.
God, we're definitely going to disagree agree there because I like Schwarzenegger. I think he's been, I don't think he's the greatest actor in the world, of course, but I think in the roles he's been in has been just fine. So, that's where I am.
Right on. So, yeah, that's basically it on 3 hardcore action flicks.
Awesome.
Other than get out and see them, peoples.
Well, so I am going to ask one question, and I think you kind of answered it, but kind of put this in a nutshell. Why, out of all the action movies, even that we've mentioned here today, why those 3
Why
specifically?
those 3 specifically? You know what? I don't think I have. And I'll tell you. First off, The Killer is the most beautiful action movie, gun fu movie you will ever see. Even though it's in Cantonese, even though you're going to have to get a dub or subtitle of it, where they essentially change their names, you will not see gun fu done any better.
Okay.
Four Brothers is a modern take on a Western without it being a Western.
Okay.
And it is bleak.
Okay.
And Total Recall, because it was the goriest film ever made.
Okay. No, I just kind of wanted to nutshell why those 3.
Yeah,
right.
because when I thought about that, I was like, we'll do 3 action films. I could do this. Well, no, wait. I have to do The Killer.
Sure.
Because of the beauty.
Well, because if you would ask me to narrow it down to 3, I'm going to go, oh, God, okay, Die Hard, wait, Terminator, oh, wait, no, Commando, oh, wait, Rocky,
Yeah.
Rocky. I'm going to...
There's a lot of action in Rocky.
There is a lot of action in Rocky. There's a ton of action in that. But I would have, Kill Bill, I would have a really hard time narrowing down to 3 action movies because I really, really do like action.
Yeah.
Face Off. I would have brought, I would have sat for hours and hours trying to figure,
Honestly,
it out.
it was, okay, so it was Four Brothers was the one that that took me time. The first two, I knew right off the bat. I'm like, oh, what I need to do is do 3 examples of the genre that make them exceptional.
Sure.
And again, Total Recall, it is the special effects, it is the blood, the gore of that film, and how ahead of its time it was, because it was. No one had thought of it in quite those terms. There were other action pieces and things like that had blood and gore, but never to the scale that they had done. And when you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It advanced the genre. The same with The Killer. The Killer is where the cult of gun fu starts. And Four Brothers was the hard one. It was because it is a bleak Western set in the crumbling city of Detroit. And it is stark. And it takes place in wintertime, which probably helped.
Right.
So yes.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I kind of just wanted to sum that up. Cool.
Yes. So, and if you watch, don't watch Four Brothers in the wintertime because it'll just make you colder. Watch it in the summer. Just saying.
All right. Then with that, take us over to the murdery side.
Murder.
And today I'm going to cover Hans Schmidt.
Hans Schmidt.
So for Hans Schmidt, I got my information off Wikipedia.
Okay.
All that is interesting. The history of yesterday. There was a Reddit true crime discussion, and YouTube, the priest that killed his pregnant mistress.
Oh.
So Hans Schmidt was born in 1881 in the Bavarian town of Aschaffenburg.
Okay.
To a Protestant father and Catholic mother. Bavaria, I don't know, if I'm sure you are, but I just put it in here. That's the largest state in Germany.
Yes.
It's the largest state that contains Munich, Nuremberg, and Augsburg, and it's bordered by the south, on the south by Austria. Both sides of his family had a long history of mental illness.
Great.
Early in his childhood, Hans was regularly beaten by his father and watched his father beating his mother. So,
again,
say it with us, kids.
Yes. If you don't want to create serial killers, don't beat your kids.
There's your after-school special.
Yes.
Good to know. So even in childhood, it said that Hans combined a very deep devotion to religion with bisexual promiscuity, and had a fascination with drinking blood and dismembering animals. So, bad sign.
Yeah.
According to relatives, Hans once beheaded 2 of his parents' geese and kept the severed heads in his pocket.
In his pocket?
In his pocket.
Gross.
He would also stand outside the village slaughterhouse every day and watch the death and dissection with fascination. They said it was really weird to see him just standing there watching. And we'll pause because he's got to work. So he was also entranced with Roman Catholic rituals. And, whereas some people might sit around playing with their dolls or, like me, their Star Wars action figures, whatever, he often played priest with a homemade altar.
Okay.
So, hey, you know what? As someone who's going to be a priest, maybe that's a great thing. You see him do it. You played at home. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have an issue with this. I kind of have an issue with the other stuff.
Yeah.
And he did decide as an adult to actually become a priest.
Okay.
Many people, though, who knew him, they kind of doubted whether he had the moral and mental fitness to serve as a Catholic priest.
All right. Right on. Well, it's Bavaria. That's Catholic Germany too.
All right. We may have some mowers in the background, but we'll power through it.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get the lawn done. So many people who knew Hans, they had serious doubts about whether he was morally and mentally fit to serve as a Catholic priest.
Wow.
But according to Hans himself, he was ordained by Bishop Kirstein of Mainz, Germany, on December 23rd, 1904, at the age of 25. Mainz, by the way, is the capital and largest city of Rhineland, Germany, which borders Belgium, Luxembourg, and France.
Yeah.
So just giving you where we are.
Mainz.
Later, when talking to Manhattan psychologists, that is Manhattan, United States,
right on. Okay.
New York, Hans said, "The bishop ordained me alone. I do not like to speak of it. The real ordination took place the night before. Saint Elizabeth, she ordained me herself. I was praying at the bedside when she appeared to me and said, 'I ordain you to the priesthood.' There was a light during her appearance. I told no one. I thought it best to keep it to myself. They would make fun of me. They always made fun of me for these things. They always expect others to do as they do. God speaks to different people in different ways." I don't know that's how he spoke, but that's how it sounded to me.
Well, yeah, in German, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of a little loopy guy.
Yeah.
So
God speaks just all in different ways. Yes. Usually not audibly, though.
who's to say? I'm not going to debate anybody at that.
Yeah. Let's not get into a theological debate.
No. In 1905, Hans was arrested and charged with forging diplomas for failing students.
Okay.
Surprisingly, though, his father, his parents were kind of,
Yeah.
His father hired a lawyer who was able to get the charges dropped for reasons of mental defect. So I kind of got the idea that his parents saw themselves high in society or something.
Okay.
Because, they wanted to keep it out of, keep him out of jail.
Right on.
He did get assigned to parishes in the village of Burgel and Seelingstadt, where he would molest altar boys and have affairs with several women and consorted with prostitutes.
Okay.
What a good priest.
Yep. They're not supposed to. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
No, they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
No, they're not. A Roman Catholic priest is supposed to be celibate.
Right on.
That is part of their order. Hans was reported to have creative ways of saying Mass and having eccentric sermons, which led parishioners and fellow priests to complain about him to the Monsignor or the bishop.
Okay.
Are you aware of what a Monsignor versus a bishop is?
You know what? I do not know. I know they're up in the church
hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right. Your Monsignor is typically your elder in the parish.
Okay.
It's going to be your senior level priest in the parish you reside.
So not quite a bishop.
Right. The bishop is generally over a series of congregations or an area of congregations. And then you go up from there from bishops to, I think you have archbishops and cardinals and archcardinals going all the way up to the Pope. But Monsignor would be your, hit a mic.
Yep.
Monsignor would be your local head of that church.
Okay.
So, after all this complaining that people were having about him, Hans started to realize that the church wasn't going to be giving him any more assignments in Germany because of his behavior. So he immigrated to the U.S. in 1909.
Okay.
He was first assigned to St. John's Roman Catholic Church in Louisville, Kentucky. But he would have a rift with the senior priest and was transferred to St. Boniface's church in New York City.
New York
City. In 1912, Hans met Anna Aumuller, who was the housekeeper of the rectory of St. Boniface's church, where the priest lived.
The rectory.
Mm-hmm. Anna had immigrated from the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1910.
Okay.
And in later conversations with psychologists, Hans claimed to have heard a voice from God ordering him to love Anna.
Okay.
She initially did kind of put him off, like, no, you're kind of a priest.
Yeah.
You need to come on, you dude, you're a priest. Yeah. But eventually, she began having a secret sexual affair with him.
Okay.
She gave in. So, in the beginning of December of 1912, Hans also began having a homosexual relationship with a dentist named Ernest Muret, and together they operated a counterfeiting ring. So they're printing money.
They're printing counterfeit money, having an affair, plus he's having an affair with the housekeeper, plus he's a Catholic priest. Man, when did this guy have time to sleep?
Hans would then be transferred to St. Joseph's Church in Harlem, but he and Anna continued their secret relationship. And Hans even performed a secret ceremony and married Anna.
Okay.
So now we have a married priest.
Okay.
He wrote their names on a marriage certificate and told Anna he was about to leave the priesthood for her.
Okay.
So that's why she went along.
A marriage certificate, as in the legal document from the state of New York.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
He signed for his own marriage.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting out of
Okay.
that. Yes.
Right on.
One night during sex with Anna on the high altar of St. Joseph's Church,
Hello.
Hans received
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
Hans received what he claimed was a command from God to sacrifice Anna. He said that Hans said that the command was repeated so insistently that he told Anna about it, and she told him he was crazy.
Sacrifice her on the altar. You mean like?
Killing her.
Yeah. I mean like Abraham.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But then she, and so he didn't that night. But then she told him that she was pregnant.
Okay.
So on December 2nd, 1913, Hans went to the apartment that he and Anna had rented at 68 Bradhurst Avenue, and where they had posed as a married couple.
Uh-huh.
Hans went inside and he slashed Anna's throat, drank her blood, and raped her as she bled to death. Then he dismembered her and threw her body parts from a ferry into the Hudson River.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we skipped a few levels here somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, that's just like that's 0 to 60.
Yeah.
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
Each section of the body part was wrapped in a newspaper except for her lower body, which was placed into a pillowcase that had a monogrammed A on it. And, each piece was then attached to a large piece of is it schist? Schist?
Yeah, rock.
Yeah, I know it's a rock. I just didn't remember if it was schist or scheist. I think scheist is German for shit.
Yes, it is.
Oh well.
Scheisse.
So attached to the rock before being thrown in the river.
Yes.
He then returned to St. Joseph's Church, gave mass, and administered communion as though nothing had happened.
Huh.
Again, one of these guys who can kill somebody and then turn around and act completely normal.
Yeah.
Just beyond me. So pieces of Anna's torso, washed ashore in Weehawken, New Jersey.
Weehawken, New Jersey.
And the monogrammed A pillowcase was found, which still had the price tag attached, which was used to trace the pillowcase to a Newark factory, which sold exclusively to Manhattan furniture dealer George Sachs.
Okay.
So the investigation was then taken over by New York City, since the where the pillowcase was found, and it was assigned to Manhattan Chief of Detectives Joseph Farraut.
Okay.
And then they also did an autopsy that revealed that Anna had prematurely given birth shortly before being murdered.
Oh,
so
wow.
he did an abortion on her before he killed her.
Wow.
Detective Farraut went to the furniture store to talk with George Sachs, and George was unable to remember how many of the pillowcases were sold, but he did allow the detective to check receipts. To which point they discovered that a bed spring, a mattress, pillows, and pillowcases had all been sold on August 26th, 1913, from a buyer who'd given their name as A. Van Dyke, and had arranged for the purchases to be delivered to a third-story apartment at 68 Bradhurst Avenue.
Well, there you go.
So Detective Farraut then went to the apartment building and questioned the superintendent, to which he was told that the apartment was occupied by a married couple. The man in the couple had a heavy German accent who gave his name as H. Schmidt. And then Detective Farraut and Detective Frank Casassa, who partnered with him, then sat for a 3-day stakeout, but no one returned to the apartment, so they just broke in.
Right on.
The floor had been recently scrubbed, but large amounts of dried blood were found on the walls. They found a large blood-stained knife on the kitchen shelf and a handsaw hidden inside of a trunk. And there were also handkerchiefs in the trunk with the same monogrammed A as the pillowcase.
Wow.
So we have something here. Men's clothing were also found with the name A. Van Dyke sewn into the lining. And then there were letters in both German and English that were found addressed to Hans Schmidt. Many of the letters were from women in Germany. However, the largest number of them were for Anna Aumüller, whose recent address was 428 East 70th Street.
Okay.
So
Little detective work.
Little bit. So Detective Farrat Casassa and now Detective O'Connell went to the address and found that Anna had moved out after she received a job as a housekeeper at St. Boniface's Church.
There you go.
So they went to St. Boniface's Church and was told by the senior pastor that Father John Braun, or his name was, the senior pastor, Father John Braun, that Anna had been his housekeeper but had transferred to St. Joseph's.
Yeah.
And detectives asked Father Braun if he knew the name Hans Schmidt, and Father Braun told him that Hans had been a priest assigned to his church, but then also moved to St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's, yeah.
So where do they go next?
St. Joseph's.
They went to St. Joseph's Rectory at 1:30 a.m., pounded on the door until the senior pastor, Father Daniel Quinn, woke and answered the door. And you know what? And I go back. I keep saying senior pastor. As I did my research, I realized they did kind of go back and forth. Some said Monsignor, some said senior pastor. I don't know why somebody would do one or the other, but anyway. Father
maybe just to spice up the language.
Maybe. Father Daniel Quinn, he woke up, he answered the door. The detectives told Father Quinn they were looking for Hans Schmidt, and so they led detectives into the parlor where Hans was sleeping and woke him up. Once the detectives confronted Hans about the murder, he said, quote, I killed her because I loved her. Sacrifices should be consumed in blood, or consummated in blood.
Wow.
I know, I keep giving him a voice when I say this. I feel like some nefarious villain.
Well, they did say he had a heavy German accent.
Yeah. Oh, so let's see. Can I do that accent? No, I can't. I was thinking about
sacrifices should be consumed in blood.
He then went on to describe the murder and dismemberment in detail.
Wow.
And then the other priests got to watch in horror as Schmidt was taken into police custody.
Mm-hmm.
Following his arrest, the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of New York suspended Hans's priestly faculties indefinitely.
Go figure.
During Hans's first trial, he tried pleading and feigning insanity. His defense team used Hans's claim of hearing voices to try to convince the jury of his insanity. I'm
pretty sure that's at least bears investigation if he's hearing voices.
Well, so they did claim that the insanity ran in his family as well.
Okay.
So they got a psychologist named Smith Eli Jalief. Mm-hmm. They called him to the stand to testify that Hans's family tree showed up to 60 near or distant relatives who shown signs of mental instability. Therefore, Hans could not be put to death because he was too insane.
Right on.
They claimed Hans was so overwhelmed with bloodlust, and he was too insane to know right from wrong.
Okay.
The prosecution, though, brought in witnesses of their own who examined and questioned Hans while he awaited trial. They concluded that contrary to Hans's efforts to convince authorities he was insane, and contrary to him rambling about voices telling him to murder Anna, Hans was in fact sane.
Okay.
The trial concluded in December of 1913 when the jury could not come to a decision after deliberating for several days, and the jury was declared a hung jury.
Oh, no.
His second trial began approximately 2 weeks later. And this time, prosecution introduced testimony that in April 1913, well before Hans received his alleged command from God to sacrifice Anna, that Hans had convinced a woman named Bertha Zeck to pose as Anna Aumüller and to purchase a $5,000 life insurance policy under her name.
What?
The policy listed Hans as the sole beneficiary.
Well, of course.
Here we go again in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Someone with a life insurance thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently they got away with it a lot because a lot of people were doing it.
On February 5th, 1914, after 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found Hans Schmidt guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced him to death. After being sentenced, Hans said, "I'm satisfied with the verdict. I would rather die today than tomorrow."
Right on.
And then they sent him to Sing Sing awaiting his execution. His defense team did file an appeal soon after his sentence, which postponed the execution for at least a year. So, because the appeal needed to work its way through the courts. And in December 1914, Hans admitted that he faked his insanity during the trials.
Oh, okay.
However, while he did that, he also tried to pin the murder on his dentist friend, with whom he had the affair, Ernest Muret.
Okay.
And Hans claimed that Ernest had accidentally killed Anna during a botched abortion. And he further claimed that he had allowed authorities to pursue him for the murder rather than Ernest, as he wanted to cover for his friend.
Okay.
His appeals were unsuccessful.
Okay.
On February 18th, 1916, at 5:50 a.m., Hans Schmidt entered the death chamber. Before being seated in the electric chair, Hans say, "I want to say one word before I go. I beg forgiveness of all I have offended or scandalized, and I forgive all who have offended against me." Moments before the switch was thrown, Hans said in a muffled voice, "My last word is to say goodbye to my dear old mother." The first jolt of electricity was initiated at 5:52 a.m., and after 2 additional jolts were administered, the prison physician pronounced Hans Schmidt dead at 5:58 a.m. A reporter for the Albany Times later wrote, quote, "His last night on earth he spent proclaiming his innocence and declaring he had made peace with God. The guards had expected a scene when the slayer was to be executed, but his actions surprised them. He was the coolest man in the death chamber. He almost domineered those who assisted in putting him to death."
Wow.
His family wanted his body shipped home to Germany. However, due to World War I going on, this proved to be impossible.
Right on.
So the Sing Sing Roman Catholic chaplain, Father William Cashin, arranged for the burial in New York State. And at the request of his family, the burial was kept secret.
Okay.
Apart from killing his wife, further investigation revealed Hans had a second apartment where he'd set up a counterfeiting shop. There was a printing press there where they were churning out $10 bills. And police had also discovered that Hans and Ernest had been working on a plan to commit a string of murders and make off with life insurance claims.
Right on.
Here we go again.
Yep.
Authorities also suspected Hans of the murder of 9-year-old Alma Kellner, whose body was found buried under the basement of St. John's Church in Louisville. Remember, that was the first place he was in the U.S.
Yeah, he got into a fight with the Monsignor. Yeah.
The body had been burned, but authorities suspected the killer initially tried to dismember her.
Okay.
And they said that only someone who was familiar with the church property would have even known how to get in this basement, as it was only accessible through a hidden trap door. I actually saw a drawing of this, and it was like hidden under a big old crate or under a wardrobe or something.
Yeah, so if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't. Yeah, it's not something that you would just notice.
Right. The janitor of the church, Joseph Wendling, was actually the one that was convicted and sentenced to life for this murder.
Yep.
And he had got his job at the church only 20 days before Alma had vanished.
Okay.
So this apparently is quite a tale in itself. And I started reading about this Joseph Wendling and the whole thing surrounding him. I may have to cover that separately sometime because it's a whole thing by itself.
Do we think he actually did it? Or?
I don't think he did it.
Okay.
I think he was wrong. Now, I mean, there were some things. He went on the run.
Yeah.
And it was very sensationalized when he was on the run because, he was being accused of killing this 9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And there were things that really pointed to him. But my opinion, Hans Schmidt killed this little girl.
Hans Schmidt killed this little girl and hung it on this priest or hung it on this janitor.
Yes. There was also a murder girl back in Aschaffenburg that had turned up evidence pointing to Hans, but he got executed before he could be questioned, so that case went cold.
Okay.
To this day, Hans Schmidt is the first and only Roman Catholic priest who has been executed in the United States.
Right on. Okay.
And that's the story of Hans Schmidt.
Well, awesome.
I don't know about awesome, but, I thought it was a very interesting story.
So them having sex on the altar, it cracked me up. I was like, really? Well, that's something you don't see every day.
Yeah.
Hey now, is that the priest?
I found it to be a fascinating story, and I did. I went through and I read all the stuff about that Joseph Windling, and I was like, oh my god, I can't put this in this episode because it's a whole thing all by itself.
Maybe we should do one about Joseph Windling.
Oh, I have it on my list of ones that I want to do.
Yeah, I got a list of some stuff too. I'm with you.
So with that'll take us to the end of this week of recording. Reminder always, you can find our website, nerderymurder.com. That's got all of our contact info.
Yes.
You can get our social media info on there as well. You can find pictures of us if you're interested in what we look like. See William as a big plate of steak and potatoes with some asparagus.
Yeah, you know what, though? I am thinking about William. I think that is not a good representation of what we see when we're looking at William. So let me tell you what we see when we look at William for episode 20. It is, at Brahms, I don't know if everybody has Brahms, but if you're around here and you have Brahms, they have this sundae, right? They put a brownie in the bottom of it. Nice warm brownie, a couple of scoops of vanilla ice cream, and then they cover it with fudge. You can get them to put caramel on top of the fudge with a little whipped cream and cherry and some crushed up peanuts. That's what I think when I see him. Just yum and tasty. Brownie caramel sundae.
Yeah, I'm going to change your picture on the site now. The day this drops, that picture is going to change.
Ow.
So Zig still wants to eat you, which I think is probably one of the creepiest things we talk about. But, so you can get our contact info on our website as well. You want to contact any of us, please do let us know if there's anything you want to hear, or if you want to give us any critique at all. Cause, as we say, we always want to know the good, the bad, know where we can improve.
Yeah.
If there's a subject that you want us to cover, please do let us know there.
Please. Cause we're always looking for material.
Yep. We've already got some coming up that where we're going to do that.
Yes.
You can find all of our episodes there, as well as all the links out to the various podcast platforms where we have everything. We do update the blog from time to time as well, so definitely check that out.
Yep.
You can also find the link to our Patreon if you wish to support this podcast and help us keep it going. Please do there. Yes, please and thank you. Do appreciate you on that. There are some things that you can get for being a Patreon. But with that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your murdery.
Cue the music.